welcome to the Minimalist Moms Meetup. I'm Emily, and tonight I'm going to be joined by Michelle at the Tidy Tot. She is actually a second-time guest on our little show here, and I'm excited to talk to her. We are talking about in kids clutter because, as we know, as we have kids, the stuff just keeps on coming. We don't know how it happens, and yet it just bombards us from every angle. So we are going to have a very practical and tactical conversation about what to do about all of the kids' stuff. And we're going to talk about toys and clothing, books, hobby stuff, crafts, all the treasures that they bring home. So it's going to be pretty fun. So I am going to try to find Michelle now, and there she is. And then we should get started soon. So sorry that I wasn't here last week. There was a schedule change on the guest, and I just realized that maybe it would be a good thing to just kind of rest because both myself and my husband and my youngest were all sick. So luckily we are now all recovered and things are going well. So we'll try to find Michelle here again. And hopefully she will be coming in soon. And if you have any questions, we did get one question from my profile. But if you have any questions as you're joining, feel free to pop them in the question box, and then we will be happy to answer those. And let me see if I can try to add Michelle. There she is. Oh, it is saying you're unable to join, which is silly. Hold on there, Michelle. We'll make it work. There she is. Hi.
Hey, Emily, how are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Good. Sorry, I don't know. I logged on and it was like kind of weird. So,
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. I lay with my youngest until he falls asleep, and today he was super chatty, and I was like, okay, well, I gotta go. And I said to my
so
husband, I'm like, he's still awake. Like, what is going on? So
you're gonna hear my
anyway,
two in the back today, where like my husband's working, everybody's yelling, and there's
that's okay.
toys and whatever. So
It's
you know how
perfect.
it
It's
is.
perfect. It's perfect for our conversation. So I'm totally fine with it.
Exactly.
So I am so happy to chat with you again because we chatted, I
Thank you.
guess, yeah, back in February. And I think that's something that I've really enjoyed about you and kind of your approach to everything is that you have such great like practical tips for people. And then also you're like so in the thick of it with like the real littles. I'm a little bit past you age-wise with the kiddos, and so it's like a little bit easier in some ways, but we actually the first 2 weeks of May we were home because my youngest unfortunately got COVID and he had kind of a hard time with it. Yeah, and then my husband and then myself and then luckily my oldest stayed healthy, but it
Oh,
was like we were home all day every day
oh
together.
yes.
So then it was like, oh, and all the toys and all the stuff and all of the all of that.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so that was challenging, but then also it really helped me to pay attention to like what are we using, what are we not using,
Yeah.
all the stuff that comes in and how it comes in. I was able to like slow down and actually pay attention to that a little bit more. So there were some blessings in all of it, which was good.
That is
Um,
good.
yeah, so we're all feeling good now. Everything's fine. But
Good.
it was just kind of like, put on the brakes for like our whole life. But I'm just glad that we're all good now.
I'm
Um,
glad too.
yeah, so maybe we should just dive right in. What do you think?
Sounds good.
No time
Yeah.
like the present. Okay, so I think what I wanted to do is kind of do it by like maybe topic area. And I
Sounds good.
think that the biggest one that is a headache for everyone, is the toys. That's like probably the number one thing. And I know
I hear
you,
you. It's been my headache
I
too.
know,
Still.
I know you have a lot of good advice and like things that you're experimenting with, and which I think is so important that people feel free to kind of experiment with what works for them and their family and their season of life and motherhood and everything. So I guess I wanted to talk first about if you have done like limiting the toys that are out at any given time, whether that be kind of like a formal rotation or just sort of like um, just, not having that all out. What
Oh
are
yeah.
some ways that you have found success with having your kids kind of focusing on less toys at a time?
Yeah. Makes sense. We do that. I'll say I started doing rotations when my daughter, so my kids are like 2.5 and 1.5. They're
Hmm.
only about 15 months apart. So, um, there's stuff everywhere. It's always stuff.
Yes.
But I found rotation worked relatively well when she was less mobile.
Hmm.
We'd play, we'll play with these rattles. The shelves, they look so great and beautiful and whatever. It doesn't always work. And
Yeah.
I found lately that just does not work for us right now. My daughter has like built-in shelves, so it kind of makes it easy. There's cubbies, there's sections. We can do bins, baskets, all of that. But it's still, I mean, if I walked in her room right now, you'd be like, whoa, there's stuff everywhere. I mean, she loves Legos, so that's most of it, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But it's Legos are one, I consider it one toy, but it's like hundreds of items that are one
Yes.
toy, you know what I mean? And even those, I try to limit those sometimes. Like we have a bin of Legos versus like a ton of them out at one time. But
Hmm.
even for my son's room, he doesn't have open shelves, so I keep him on the floor a lot, and that's worked well. But then again, now he's walking, he's into everything, he's pushing stuff around, so I've basically had to limit even more. And I know you know this, but there's like, I forget, multiple universities have done studies. They always say less toys are better. And it's definitely, I think it's made a difference in our kids. Having less out, having less
Yeah.
stuff overwhelming them has definitely, even for my daughter, calmed her down a bit in a way. I wouldn't say like, it's just from taking away toys. And it's like,
Hmm.
and I try to get that point across a lot where it's like you're not trying to take away or make them feel like, oh, I'm bad, I can't have this or whatever. It's like collaboration in a way. Like, well, you're not really playing with this. Let's try and we'll get to this later. I know, like give it to somebody who will play
Yeah.
with it. But like I said, the toy rotation. So I started doing the shelves, keeping out, I would say anywhere from probably my son is always very loud, so
That's
I'm
okay.
sorry
Don't worry about
in
it.
advance. He's walking and he's so funny. He'll crawl, he'll make noise, he'll walk and make noise.
Oh.
Um, so just like I said, I went from having more out to then basically scaling back. So like for my daughter, she loves stuffed animals. So we like Legos, stuffed animals. We have that Fisher Price house, like a kind of
Hmm.
like a dollhouse type of toy. So we got that. And then I try and switch up a couple other things. So my latest, even I think my post about, I think I have at most usually like 6 items out at a time.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
again, like items, I mean like Legos is one item,
Yeah.
stuffed animals say is one item, but again, I limit that to like 5. I
Hmm.
would say. I mean, again, she's like 2.5. That's the thing I know we'll talk about with gifts. It's like everybody for every holiday gives her a new stuffed animal and gives her new this.
Hmm.
We have to like curate and bring that back. But
Yeah.
um, so I think rotation for me has just been instead of being very rigid about it, okay, I got to do it monthly. I got to do it by
Hmm.
theme. Got to do it by this. It's let's pick, I know we're into this right now. Let's swap them out. If I do it once a week, good. If I do it once every couple weeks, okay. But
Yeah.
just like kind of observing, is she bored? Is he bored? Are they into, I don't know, they both love music. So I try and do more of that type of stuff
Hmm.
too. Drums out, maracas, whatever else. But you know what I mean? Observation, I think when it comes to that stuff is
Yes.
like, so.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I have never really done a rotation per se. I know that it's like a big thing that's talked about quite a bit, in kind
I
of
never
the,
thought about it until I really started like learning more about it on Instagram. I was like, wow, that's a great idea to switch them out. I
yeah.
never thought about
Yeah,
it.
no, definitely. And I think especially like super young too, that's helpful. My kids at the current time, it may change, but we don't have toys in their
How old are
rooms.
your kids, Emily?
Oh,
They're a
they're
little
4 and 6. Oh,
right.
almost
Okay.
6. Yeah, my son's turning
Okay.
6 in about a week. So he feels like he's 6. Anyway, yeah, so we just never put toys in their room except for like the stuffed animals that they would sleep with. And that I
Right.
can't explain why. We just did that. And then they have some books in their room, but the majority of them are on our main floor because we always just read with them there. And
Yeah.
so all of the toys are pretty much here in the basement where I'm at. And the reason that's been really working well for us is that it's all like in one place. So visually, like I kind of know where everything is.
Oh
They
yeah.
kind of know where everything is. I've done it so they can reach everything.
Okay.
So just, well, let me
I
do
try to
this.
do that
So
with my
like,
kids.
you
Yeah.
know, we have like the
They're
trucks
getting straight.
down there. And so like
Mhm.
those are where they can reach. And then I have like picture frames up there. So it just makes it easier because it's like everything's accessible. And when it comes to the amount out, I'm reading a book right now. It's by Dana K. White. She is A Slob Comes Clean, I think, on Instagram.
I've heard of this book.
Yeah, it's decluttering at the speed of
Here.
life. And
Okay.
what I kind of like is she has this concept, and I'm sure it's like something that we all know about. We don't like use this verbiage of having a clutter threshold. It's sort of
Yes.
like the level at which you're like, ah, and that might be different than your spouse or whatever. And so my husband's clutter threshold for like having a bunch of toys out at a time is very different than mine. So like on the weekend, I'll come down here and everything is out and everything is like you can't even walk. And I'm like, "Arr!" And he is just relaxed and he's fine. So what I normally do with the boys is, especially these things that they do that kind of take up a lot of space, if they are like, oh, now we want to play with this, I'm like, okay, we're going to put away this first, you know, before we move
Mm-hmm.
on. That helps a lot because then they don't get overwhelmed by the cleanup at the end, because
Yes.
that's one of the big things is like all of a sudden this team trying to clean up and their limbs don't work anymore. They're like, Mom, I don't know how to put something in a bag. How do I do it? And I'm like, okay, you were just running around and doing like somersaults. You know how to do this, you know?
You're fine. Yes.
Yeah, so we try to kind of limit what's out at any given time, not so much from a rotation standpoint, but just like my threshold of sanity of being able to deal with any of it. And
That
then
makes
we,
sense though. I
yeah.
kind of do that for that reason also, because it's like,
Hmm.
I'm stuck in the same boat. Like then I've got to do
Yes.
most of the cleanup, but help clean
Yes,
up.
yes, exactly. Especially at their age, yeah, it is. You do take more of the load, but yeah, and just knowing where all the toys are. So like I don't have to be like, okay, I don't know where that random car is, you know, like
Mm-hmm.
everything is kept in one place in one floor.
Right.
So that's been really helpful for us. And I know, you know, one of the other things that you mentioned was kind of like the one in, one out thing that you've sort of been able, even at their young age, to kind of talk to your kids about.
Yeah.
Since Andrew is going to be turning 6 and he knows he's going to be getting, you know, gifts.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of like, okay, well, you know, if you want this big thing, where are we going to put it in the basement? It seems like we
Right.
might have to get rid of this instead. And it makes them think like, oh yeah, okay, like we need to have a home for it. It's not that it's just like randomly out or we don't know where it's going to go. And that's been helpful because if you are giving like a physical boundary for whatever it is, Legos or stuffed animals or trucks, like this is kind of our boundary for trucks right now. So it's full, as you can see. So
Yeah.
if they're getting more trucks, it's like, okay, well, where did the trucks go? Or is there one that we can donate that I haven't really seen you play with X for a while? So
Yep.
how have you, even at their young ages, been kind of helping your kids understand like the physical limitations of toys and where toys go?
Well, that's hard. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm trying to think. We kind of do similar, like you said, the one in, one out to a point, but again, that's like we'll talk about like with gifts and
Yeah.
everything. It's like then you get a pile of stuff, and then you're like, okay, now what? Like even with my daughter, she's like I said, 2.5. She's pretty astute when it comes to like that. Like we'll talk about it and be like, okay, let's try and you have 3 bears and somebody else, they don't have any bears. So let's pick your favorite bear. I try and do a lot of like picking your favorites. So
Yes.
pick your favorite bear, and then maybe we can give 1 or 2 of these other bears to somebody who doesn't have any bears. Okay, usually because I've done this with her a lot, she's pretty like, okay, we'll go for it. But, then there's other things where she doesn't want to have anything to do with that. So then I might like put that to the side and then revisit it the next day or within a couple of days. But I also try, it sounds goofy in a way, but like I'll take them when I donate stuff. Like I will take my kids to go, okay, we're going to go to Goodwill or whatever.
Yeah.
We're going to donate these items to, give them I don't know, I laugh, but I like talk about giving him a second life. But
Yeah, yeah.
he doesn't get it in a way, but it's like, well, okay, we're going to go give them to somebody again who doesn't have this stuff, but let's, see, and maybe they'll like it too. And I don't know, kind of like I said, at their age, like they are so little, but then trying to get them used to at least hearing that type of stuff
Yes.
early is good, I think. So it seems to resonate, especially if she's, like I said, 2.5, she's starting to get it a little bit more.
Yeah.
But then she's funny, like I'm like, Nikki, do you want this or this? No, let's donate it. Okay, we'll put it in the pile and then we'll go together and be like, okay, but I won't, you can't like trigger their memories in a way
No.
either. No, I want that.
No.
I actually want that.
Oh my gosh, I've had that happen
like, it's
several
great
times.
at the time, and then you're like, even I laugh. I'll put the stuff in the laundry room. That's like my holding zone. So
Yes.
in the box in the laundry room, but then it's like I have to hide it and make sure
Yes.
it's not, like easily able to be peeked into or seen, because then it'll be, oh no, that's mine. So
Yeah. One of the other things that was funny about this book, which I have been, this happened to me, to put things in black trash bags, because I once, one of my little tips is to donate things to like the school and or daycare or whatever where your kids are, if that's possible. So I've donated a lot to Sean's preschool. And the problem is, one day I decided to do it as I was dropping him off, and it was in a bag that you could kind of see through. And he was like, "What's that?" And I'm like, we talked about this, and you said you wanted to donate it. And he's like, "No, I didn't." I'm like, "Oh gosh," here I am like carrying it to the school, and he's changing his mind. So using the black trash bags, and preferably doing it either with your kids, but kind of covertly where they're not changing their mind at the last minute, or maybe not exactly at the same time. But tomorrow we're going to donate some books to this organization, this like nonprofit in the area. And Sean, right before he got sick, it was the weirdest thing. He came to me. He's like, "Mommy, I have some books I want to donate." And I'm like, "Okay." And it was a lot of them. I mean, he just starts taking him off. It's like what you would do in a normal decluttering session, but it was a 4-year-old. And he's taking him off the shelf, and he's like, "This one I'll donate. This one I'll keep. This one I'll donate." And I was like, "Whoa, like someone's been training you."
that is cool.
But it was really like kind of heartwarming, because he has that in his vocabulary, like the concept of donating. He like gets it, and so does your daughter, and I'm sure your son will too. And so that's nice, because then if it's something that they have always remembered that you've always done, then it's not like this weird foreign concept that you're taking things away and whatever. So I think that's great. Start them young, as I like to say.
I totally agree. I laugh in a way, but it's like it's funny to see, because they pick up on everything that you do. So it does seem to be working in their brains. So
Yeah. Oh yeah. And we do talk a lot about like wants versus needs. Like sometimes it's more of a joke where they'll be like, "But I need to such and such." And I'm like, "Well, do you need to, or do you want to?" And then they'll catch me too. They'll be like, I'll say like, "You need to brush your teeth." And they're like, "Well, do we need to?" And I'm like, "Well, if you want them to stay in your mouth." I know. I'm like, "Oh wait, you have baby teeth. I can't make that argument because now Andrew's losing teeth." But it is good to kind of teach some of those concepts early. Let's see here. Oh yeah, and you were talking about another way to sort of like talk to your kids about it is We have more space to play. And
Yeah.
I like that too, because again, since this is our main playing area, even in the midst of just kind of cleaning up as we go, it's like, well, you want to make a train track, you can make that a little train track right here, or
Hmm.
we could clean up, the play mat and the traffic and all the other stuff. And then you could have a huge train track. Doesn't that sound fun? And I do find that even if they clean up like half of the playing space, they are not, they're not acting as crazy. Like they're a little bit
Yeah.
calmer in their play because of that. Again, they don't have that visual stimulus overload, but it's kind
Right.
of interesting to see it in action because it is kind of subtle. Because, like,
Hmm.
kids act crazy for all kinds of reasons. Like, they could
Yeah.
be tired, they could be hungry, they could just have too much sugar that day. Like, who knows?
Hmm.
And, but we, I think, don't think much about what is in their visual field and how that impacts them. But if
Yeah.
you really kind of observe it, like you said, like just the power of observation, you'll notice that they'll maybe play nicely and more calmly if they have less out at a time. Have you noticed that too with your kiddos?
Definitely. Once I put the stuff, a lot of the stuff away, like I said, I mean, I only went from, what did I say, Emily? Maybe like, I don't know, between 12 to 15 toys, even in my daughter's room, to like now, like I said, I cut it down to like 5 to 6. But
Yeah.
again, Lego is a lot, you know what I mean, at a time. But I mean, she'll happily go in there, relax, play. I mean, she would do that sometimes when, and again, it's an age thing too, but like
Yeah.
sometimes with the more toys, but I could tell, she'd be in there, oh, yeah, I'll just take this out and throw it on the floor. Oh, this will
Yes.
get thrown on the floor. You know what I mean? And then it's like, okay, now we got to go in there and clean up. So she never really played with anything. She
Mm-hmm.
just like, pulled it out and threw it on the floor. So with the
Yep.
combination of age and like you're saying, like visual stimulation, that overstimulation,
Yep.
that's too.
Yeah.
But I definitely think, like you said too, and I do talk to them about that too, like giving yourself more space, which I think is,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I liked somebody posted recently, I can't even remember who, a couple weeks ago, about resetting the room. I've been trying to do that sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
like, and I don't always do it with the kids, but I notice it is so much easier on me, obviously,
Yes.
than
Yeah.
later. Because a lot of the times, they're playing in the rooms all day, then we eat dinner and whatever, and
Mm-hmm.
then I'm like, oh, here we go, it's bedtime.
Yeah.
My dog's been bedtime battling lately too, so
Oh no.
it's like, oh, then we got to clean up, and it's just so like if I do at least say half to three-quarters of it before we leave, it should be quick and easy in the first place because I don't have much stuff out. But like I
Yes.
said, it comes to like the small lots of toys, like to do that and then leave the room is helpful. But
Yeah.
again, that's like a newer thing for me, so but it's
Well,
working well-ish.
yeah. So I kind of, one of the tips that I have, or kind of the tricks I use, is that when it comes to like the final cleanup for the day, we do that right before I cook dinner. And the reason is that that's when they get to watch a show or like the beginning
Hmm.
of a movie. And so they have to clean up before we do that. And that
Yes.
way, so we're talking like 4:30 is my target time to do that so that I can start, everything's cleaned up. And then is everyone okay?
Oh yeah, no. My
Okay.
son was stuck with his walker. I'm looking over. I'm like,
Okay.
what is he doing? I'm
Just want to
stuck.
make sure. Yeah,
We're gonna
so
like,
it's like we have everything cleaned up, and then after dinner, we'll either go on a walk, or
mhm.
we'll read, or do something that's like quiet where we're not really like getting stuff out.
Yeah,
Because then it's harder. Like the closer you get to bedtime, the harder it is to get them to put anything
I
away.
hear that totally. Yes, I
So we're
realize that, and
trying to
I
do
talk
it
about it too.
before dinner.
I we don't have so my kids, like you said, I think that's a great idea, and that's our goal down the road. So I have toys in my kids' room, both of their rooms right
Hmm.
now, and then I have a couple bins in our living room that, I'd say between one and two, just depending on what's out, and then, um, we'll move stuff around between that stuff. But our office, my husband, he owns his own business, so eventually he'll be moving out of here within the
Hmm.
next couple of months. So it'll be nice. We'll have a playroom kind of space, and then at that point, I'll be able to kind of take some more stuff out of their rooms and like
Yeah.
put it in one place. But I do clean up to an extent, but again, it's only really in the living room. and
Yeah.
then I cook dinner. Then they get to watch TV, and then yeah, because I do the same thing. Like while I'm cooking, I usually let them watch a show. So
Yeah. I'm like,
for me,
don't come near the boiling pots of water,
I know
please.
we're in the same boat. My husband said I think about it all the time now. I guess he said when he was a kid, somebody he knew they pulled down a boiling pot and
Yes.
they got completely burned from it. So I
That,
think about that constantly when I'm
yes,
cooking.
me
Push it
too.
back, push it back, push it back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that happened to my friend's son like a year
Oh
ago.
my
And so I'm
gosh.
like, yeah, no,
Very,
we're not
yeah.
doing that. But okay, so I think the only thing like toy wise, like toys that you either were getting or that are coming into our home that we have some control over. But then Emily Conley, she posted one question, which was gifts. She said, "How do you handle the gifts asking for a friend?" Winky, winky face, you know.
Okay.
And
You cut out for a second. There
oh,
you
okay,
go.
sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, it
Go ahead.
was Emily Conley was asking about gifts and
Yes.
kind of how we handle that. So I'll give my couple pieces of advice and then I would love to hear what you have to say. But so, for example, my son is turning 6 in a week or so. Hello, Mama Miss. Um,
Hold on. You're cutting out, Emily.
oh no, I'm
Hold on.
sorry. I'm
No, go
trying
ahead.
to
I
stay
don't.
still and
Hold on. Your
very
friend there. Okay. Try. Looks okay.
okay. Sorry.
Sometimes we're slow over here. No, it's okay. Yeah, we have like not great internet,
Oh
so.
no. Okay. Yeah, so as far as like gift requests, I always give a list far in advance for both birthdays and also for Christmas and everything to the relatives that are always asking. And so that is really helpful. But also for his party, like his friend party,
Hmm.
I'm not, they're not bringing any gifts. And actually, his elementary school has like a food pantry for families. And so I'm asking people to bring food donations.
That's an
And
awesome.
yeah, I told him that. And I was like, you're going to have a family party. And I know there's things that you wanted, and everyone knows what they are. And so that'll be when you're opening gifts. But this is just to see your friends and have fun. And
Mhm.
then we're not going to, and I don't even think I'm going to do like goodie bags. I mean, if I do, there's not going to be any crap in them. That's for sure. But maybe I'll do something with like a little like
Snacks,
treat snack
food,
or
or something.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's another big thing, all of like the treasures and things that they bring home
Yeah.
from all of these different things. Um, so that's kind of how I've approached it. And also, uh, I don't know, being clear about like what we don't need. Like, no, he's good on shorts or he's good on shirts. And no, Sean doesn't need anything because he gets all of Andrew's stuff when he, grows out of them. And for the most part, my family and relatives, they respect it and they understand. And also, I always say like a gift that's given out of love shouldn't be kept out of guilt. So if you receive the gift, receive it gratefully, and then it is your choice what you do with it. It's
Yeah.
100% your choice, and there should be no guilt. And if anyone is making you feel guilty, uh, I don't know what to tell you except sorry. And I don't know, like, do your best. But so, what has been your experiences on kind of setting expectations for gifts?
Well, I can totally relate. I laugh. I mean, I talk to my parents, my in-laws. So I'm an only child, just me,
Mm-hmm.
and then my husband has two younger brothers. So, um, just from experience, I don't know. I laugh. I tell my mom, especially, the grandparents love my kids. They always want to get them stuff. And I kind of did the, so we'll start. I did the same thing in a way. I did an Amazon list
Yeah.
for my in-laws, my parents, and two aunts who are very sweet and always give to the kids. So they're like our immediate family who are always giving us stuff for them. So, the Amazon list, I told them like, you don't have to buy from the list because I feel like that's, I don't know. Oh, now my mom, I laugh. She's always the one who's like, just judgy, I guess. I
Yeah.
laugh, but she's always like, give me a list, blah blah blah. I'm like, you don't have to buy from the list, just suggestions.
Mm-hmm.
But it's telling you same thing. I put notes on there too. That's kind of like these sizes are what they need. Exactly. You said, oh, my son can use shorts. My daughter could use shirts.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. So like really noting when it comes to that type of stuff, even toys. Um, Try to limit the amount of toys that are on the list, but also things that I know, like I said, they're loving music right now, so
Yeah.
certain things I know will get used by both of them, even if it's for one or the other. But so I'd say the Amazon list, ask for the experiences. I don't know. I
Oh,
tried,
yeah.
experiences. Oh, we want to go to the museum. We want to go, I don't know, take a ballet class for my daughter, something like
Mm-hmm.
that type of stuff. And I laugh too. Experiences like consumable type stuff. I know you've done
Yeah.
this too. I'm sure art supplies, that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We can use those things. And I feel like I used to be that person who would be like, oh, I can't use this, purple sparkles because what if I need them sometime? But now I'm like, no, no,
No.
no, no. Use it,
Use
use it. You
use the
can
purple
use it.
sparkles.
I know. But so I could definitely, I a lot of a couple that my aunts and everything, they've really okay. My daughter's birthday, my one aunt did all consumable art type of stuff, and
Nice.
both my daughter and my son, they got them smocks, they got them, just different paint and glitter or whatever supplies, all that. So that's great because I didn't have much of that left because I decluttered tons of it, and I said,
Yeah.
oh no, like now with my kids, now I'm gonna start wanting to use all that type of stuff again. So that was a great gift, that was a big one. Again, I don't know, Emily. Oh, the last thing was money. But again, it's
Yeah.
just close family that have asked before, like, hey, can we give you money? Sure, we'd love it. We'll put them in their accounts.
Yes.
That's great.
Actually,
Um,
you just remind me of something if I can interrupt you for a second.
Please, totally.
Um, Now I have I think you know how like every day is like National Day of whatever.
Yeah.
Um, One of the things I was looking at the calendar because I was like, oh, some of these might be like relevant, and
Yeah.
there's like 529 Day coming up or something.
Okay.
So we have 529 like the college savings accounts for the kids. And
Yep.
so my parents usually, and then some aunts and in-laws, you can actually have them contribute to that like online. And so
Yes.
that's something great too. So instead of like saying, oh, Venmo me something, I'll put it in their account,
Mm-hmm.
they could actually put it directly if you had a 529
Yeah.
account for your kid, for college, which is great. And even if it's like
Yeah.
they have a certain budget in mind and they're like, well, we got these things, but we'd like to get them a little something extra, but you don't
Mm-hmm.
want it to be like a physical thing, then just
Mm-hmm.
ask them to put that difference or whatever in the 529 plan. So
Oh
that's
yeah.
something that has worked really well for us. Because a lot
Oh
of
yeah.
times they want it to be like, at least my relatives, they want it to be like spending the same amount like
Oh
for
yeah. For
each,
both of
yeah.
them. I
And,
hear you.
and I mean, I'm lucky in that my boys are less than 2 years apart and they play with the same stuff.
Oh
So
yeah.
I pretty much, we don't have anything that belongs to one or the other. It's like, except for the animals you sleep with, you guys share everything.
Oh
And
yeah.
so far that's been
I'm
working out
noticing that
well.
about mine too. They're starting to do
Yes.
basically the same thing. Yeah. And wanting to play with the same type of stuff or each
Yeah.
other's things.
So, which is good because then again, it makes playtime easier because it's not like, well, that's mine and that's mine and whatever. I mean, as much as you can have things that don't even make sense to have to be their own. Like if you have like blocks or if you have Legos, train tracks, they're not going to be
Right.
like, well, that's my train track piece. Like, no, you're just going to play with the train tracks together, you know? So I
Exactly.
think that makes a lot more like harmonious, playing together if you
Yeah.
don't differentiate between whose is whose, if you can. I know that
Right.
depends on the ages too, but okay, cool. So that's how we deal with very
Yes.
generous
That's a
relatives.
hard
Just
thing too. I sorry to keep going,
no,
but
it's fine.
when it comes to the gift stuff, like I first I felt really bad, and I still feel bad in a way because I know how, like I said, my mom is very sentimental and very giving, and I appreciate that. I'm very grateful, and I know that's a hard thing. I feel like I'm sure throughout like the minimalist community, it's like yes, we are still very grateful, and like I
Yes,
forget what your phrase was that I love. What is it again? Can you repeat it?
I
You
remember.
accept something about accepting.
Oh, a gift
Yes,
a gift that's given in love doesn't have to be kept out of guilt. Is that it?
yes, I
Okay.
love it. That's total. Yes, that is something like if you still want to give it to me, okay. Then it's me saying, okay, we don't need this, so let me, put it in my pile
Yeah.
of doing
Yeah.
or something. and don't feel guilty about it because, it was a great thought. We don't
Hmm.
need it. Let's give it to somebody who actually needs it. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. And just like you can be grateful, um, teaching your kids to be grateful and polite and all of that. And then just realizing that the sentiment was in the giving. It
Right.
wasn't that you were expected to keep it until you die or something.
Okay.
Like, I mean,
Oh,
for
yeah.
real. So,
It's funny. I was just talking to my mom, total aside, I
yeah,
remember you doing something about Swedish death cleaning.
yes.
I was just telling her about that. She didn't know, and I was laughing. I said, I never heard about it either until I remembered you were talking about it, and I told her about it. And she's like, wow, that's like such a great idea. I'm like, yeah, keep it in
Yeah,
mind. Like, great idea.
do it, do it.
She's
Go
like,
through
I think
your
I'm gonna
stuff.
start doing
I
that. Yeah.
know. Go through your stuff so I don't have to, Mom. Come on now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
my parents, they were dealing with that from my uncle, my grandparents, all that, and
yes,
they're like, man, I don't want to leave this for you. I said, there's a term for that, by the way.
yes, yes, that's good. Oh my gosh, yes. I keep hammering that into the brains of my parents for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know that like the clothing and books, they kind of like go along with it. Similarly, I think for clothing, my biggest thing is that my kids just don't have a lot of it, and it makes like on purpose, and it makes life so much easier because Andrew, for a while now, so probably since he was maybe five and I don't know, 5.5, whatever, he's choosing to pick his own clothes, which is pretty
Okay.
funny. But
I love it.
yeah, because he wants to wear the same shirt like every day.
Okay.
But he probably has like 5 or 6 t-shirts and 5 or 6 pairs of shorts that he just kind of rotates between. I
Mhm.
know he's, a boy and I don't really care much about fashion. So it's very like simple, but I also choose to do the laundry every day. And so everything is pretty clean, but it
Right.
really cuts down on our inventory. And I even notice with Sean, he still is okay with us picking stuff out, but I could probably, declutter at least a third of the t-shirts that he has. He probably would never notice. And honestly, like I'm okay putting some of those aside so he just has like less to choose from. You can actually like
Right.
see what's in the drawers and everything. And so that has worked really well for the kids. Again, if Andrew needs something, it's more Andrew since we do hand-me-downs for Sean.
Right.
If Andrew needs something, then I just let my mom or my mother-in-law know, and we're able to handle most of it. One of the things that my mom did, which was really nice, because I have no sewing skills whatsoever, uh, the kids, because they're always playing with cars and trucks on the floor, is they would drag their legs on the carpet, and then Sean especially would get holes in the right knee of his pants, every single pair of pants.
Oh my
And
gosh.
so my mom made them all into shorts pretty much.
Jeez,
So
that's
now
awesome.
he has a lot of shorts because she was so kind to do that. But it's nice because we were able to kind of give the pants like second life, and then he's able to at
That's
least
awesome.
wear them for this season for the shorts. But yeah, for me, it's just choosing to do laundry frequently because that's what works best for me. But that allows you to have less clothing, not only for yourself, but for your kids, and less decision fatigue for either you or them if they're learning how to dress themselves. So, do you have anything to add to that on the clothing side?
I'm kind of in the same boat. I basically try to do laundry every day. Even
Mm-hmm.
if I don't do kids every day, I have to basically do it every other day.
Yeah.
It just, yeah, like, I also choose not to have a ton of clothes. My mom really, she loves buying clothes, and she's like the Kohl's freak.
Oh
I
my
laugh.
gosh. Yes.
You get the greatest deals at Kohl's. We always laugh. She's like, oh my gosh, I had to buy this
Had to.
little
That's what
because
my
I
mother-in-law
know
says. I just had to. Or she does like
I couldn't
Carter's.
help it.
She goes,
Yes,
it was a doorbuster.
I have to. Going back to the want versus I needed
Oh,
it. I need
yeah.
it. Well, I laugh with her. So I think she does. She loves doing clothes, and that's great because then I don't really have to buy them. But we're
Yes.
at the point now too where it's like changing of seasons, no holidays for us really coming up. I mean, nothing that's exciting. Their birthdays are in the fall, so
Mm-hmm.
I will probably, I think I'm going to try kind of a capsule for the kids
Yeah.
for the summer. And again, I mean, it's kind of like we already kind of do that. So, like you're saying, we just limit what they have. But um, now we're kind of switching. We're in Arizona, so I
Yeah.
mean, it's already 400 here at this point, and it's probably going to be pretty consistently for the rest of the summer. So, no matter what, shorts. And I'm like running low on just some of that stuff. They're
Yeah.
little, they wear stuff out, stuff gets stained. I, for the most part, can get a lot of that stuff out, but then I'll be like, all right, well, season's changing, they're growing,
Yeah.
sizes are changing, let's switch it out. But one thing that, like I said, I totally appreciate my mom. She loves to buy the clothes, so that's great. But a lot of them, they're just cute and fun, and they're all different colors. So that's something I definitely was thinking about trying. If I'm gonna order a bunch of stuff, try to
Yeah.
get so kind of in a capsule way where stuff blends together. I still don't need to have a ton of it. So I laugh. My daughter's been potty trained for a while, but then she's kind of like regressed a little sometimes.
Hmm.
So we've had it's on off. So again, like that's why gotta wash every day or every other day.
Oh
Gotta keep
yeah.
the pants.
Yes, we have that too.
So,
Luckily they wear the same size underwear.
okay, that's
So
awesome. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh
so
yeah.
like I'm just kind of like, we're just gonna borrow a pair of Andrews today. Yeah, we Sean's been doing better, but occasionally, yeah, we'll have some
Oh
accidents
yeah.
during the day. Um, I think the other thing is like from a gift perspective, I was just thinking like, not that my kids are right now, but for your age kids, like the swim diapers or,
Yeah.
like that's like a kind of a consumable thing, but like, sometimes those can get kind of expensive or just like swimsuits and like swim stuff and
Now
it,
I have to tell you what is on my Amazon list because I just started
yeah,
doing stuff more like that. I put a nightlight on there.
yeah,
I put a piece for the stroller for my son. I'm like, well, why not? I
why
mean,
not?
he doesn't need the toys. I need a like tray for the stroller. It didn't come with one. Do I really want to spend whatever, some stupid amount,
I know.
$30 on it? Somebody
Yeah.
wants to buy it for me, for him, that would be great because he's gonna use it, not me.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think that there should be, I mean, and when you have a variety of things on that kind of list, then the gift giver can maybe pick something practical and also pick something fun. It's
Yeah.
not like, I mean, I'm like the boring person that always gives like the books and the socks and whatever. I'm like super practical. But people sometimes like, my mother-in-law especially, she likes getting the gifts that's going to get like the reaction,
Yeah.
and so but then she'll also get like the clothes and stuff. So it is kind of nice to have to not be afraid about putting the practical stuff or think like you have to get that. No, like it's okay. Like put it on a
Yeah.
put it on a wish list. Why not?